in that period of time. But we did make it. I asked for a couple of extensions, but we did make it, and I've got it all in my yard now. I'm selling part of it. Part of it went down to Mexico, and part of it went here. And then my daughter's husband got killed in a car crash up at the Virginia City car race a couple of weeks ago. And,
I'm very sorry to hear that.
So I've been busy. I post every once in a while on Open Minds, and I haven't written anything for thelivingmoon.com lately, but I need to get in there and change some of the stuff I wrote on the moon. And,
oh, really?
I have to do that. I have to do that in the next couple of weeks or so.
Okay. Well, when you say you want to change some stuff, have you got some new information about the moon that you're thinking of posting?
Yeah. Hold on just a second.
Okay. You want to tell us about that? Okay. It looks like John's taking a call in the background here.
Okay, I have to change some stuff because after reading Perry Spolter's book called Gravitational Force of the Sun, Perry is I forget what she has her master's in, but she's also a very good mathematician. And she figured out that Newton's second law is wrong and that Kepler's third law is correct. And what that means is that there is no basis for Newton's assumption that gravitational force is due and is proportional to the quantity and density of matter. And that the quantity and density of matter is what we base the gravitational force of the moon on. So if you use another computation of figuring out gravity, which is the Boolean-Newton law of inverse square, as I myself have been saying for the last 3 years, the gravity is at least 64%. But it turns out that Perry figured it out, and it's at least 70%. What this means is that it can hold an atmosphere. And all along I've been saying, that millions of people live on the moon, and there's everything up there that there is down here: forests, hills, snow, lakes, rivers, towns, cities, factories, everything on both sides of the moon. People think that it's all on the far side, sometimes erroneously referred to as the dark side. It's not the dark side. Every part of the moon receives the same amount of light. It just takes longer because it takes the moon 29 days to make one full rotation, and every part of the moon gets the same part of the light. But we've come across so many pictures of so many facilities on the moon, landing areas, houses, towns, all kinds of stuff. And it's extremely interesting. And what my mistake on the living moon is, this is when I was trying to figure out the gravitational force of the moon and why it is 70%. And I thought that it probably had to do with the mares, or the seas, being some kind of attractive force, but it's not. It's just the fact that gravity is not what we think it is. Now, if you ask me what gravity really is, I don't know. Kepler thought it was magnetism, but it certainly is not density or mass. So what this means is that the Apollo missions never went. It was all a fake. It was all a fraud. They could not possibly have gone to the moon and orbited the moon or landed on the moon with a gravity of 70%, simply because all they had was 22,000 pounds in that lunar lander. And if they undocked at 60 miles and made an approach and landing and then took off and then re-docked at 60 miles, there's no way they could have done that with 22,000 pounds of fuel. It's impossible. So we have definite proof that Apollo never went. The astronauts never went to the moon. Nobody went to the moon. However, there have been, I mean, none of the NASA people went to the moon. There have been a lot of people go to the moon at the invitation of the people that live there. There's two people that live there. One are people identical to us, humans, but very, very far advanced both technologically and sociologically. And the other people that are up there are the Greys, and they live underground, and they do all their work underground. And by work, you've heard me talk about the human race being containers, and what their containers is souls. And every human being on the face of the earth is picked up once at 3 years old, once at 7 years old, and once at 13 years old, taken to the moon and given a checkup, just like you take your car in for a checkup every 30,000 or 3,000 miles. And, check the water, you check the battery, check the fan belt, change the oil, do this, do that, do that. But everybody is picked up and taken there at least 3 times. Then,
okay, John, wait, slow down, because this is, very interesting. I agree with you. It sounds like you're talking the first group is being the Anunnaki, right?
They're what?
The first group you were talking about as basically being the Anunnaki, who are one group that is in charge of the moon.
I doubt it. I don't think they're the Anunnaki.
You don't think it's the Anunnaki?
I don't think they're connected.
That's what the Anunnaki are, humans like us.
But I really don't know that could possibly be that.
Okay. Now you're saying. I mean, hold on one sec. Now you're making another statement about there are Greys on the moon, and I have to agree with you on that. But you're saying they pick up humans at certain periods in their life, and you're saying they pick up everyone. And I want to know where you're getting that information from.
I get it from all kinds of places, but I have 2 very close family members that consciously remember being picked up and going up there. Now, this is extremely rare because you're not supposed to know about it. They erase your memory so that you don't know anything about aliens or going to the moon or anything. But these 2 family members of mine distinctly remember it and remember everything that happened. So of all the things I have, they're the best.
All right. They're very interesting. And then as far as you said, no one has gone to the moon in terms of the astronauts. Now, our evidence from Henry Deacon, as you may know, is that they did go, but they only went with help from the ETs, to get through, from what I understand, the Kuiper Belt, and also to use anti-gravity to get there.
Well, that's possibly, but I don't believe it.
Oh, you don't?
No, there's too many fraudulent photographs and information that if they had gone, why couldn't they have taken pictures of what the moon really looked like?
Okay, so you don't think any of the NASA photographs are legitimate, in other words?
No, they're all fake. And the reason this came to me is I figured this out about 1.5 years. Zorgon, who you know is Ron Schmidt, sent me 3 of the landing tapes, and they were of Apollo 15 or 14, 16, and 17. He said he said, take a look at these and tell me what you think. So I looked at them. Each one of them was about 3 or 4 minutes long, and after I looked at them, I had a really sick feeling in my stomach because I realized it was fraudulent, that we all had been taken in, because those landing photos are absolutely fraudulent. Number one, when they talk about descending out of 300,000 feet